Have you ever set your alarm for 5 a.m. with big plans, only to hit snooze and wake up hours later, feeling guilty? Maybe you've heard that successful people wake up early. Maybe you've tried it yourself. Once, twice, maybe even 10 times. But every time, you fall back into old habits and tell yourself, maybe I'm just not a morning person. But what if the first hours of your day held the power to change your entire life? This is the story of a man who had nothing until 5 a.m. became his secret weapon. In a small industrial town lived a 32-year-old man named Thomas. He worked as a night security guard at a textile warehouse. Every evening at 8 p.m., he started his shift. Every morning at 6 a.m., exhausted, he walked home while the rest of the town was just waking up. His salary barely covered rent for a tiny one-room apartment. The fan barely worked. The mattress lay on the floor, and the single light bulb flickered whenever the power dropped. But the hardest part of Thomas's life wasn't the money. It was the feeling of being trapped. Every morning as he walked home, he passed houses where families were eating breakfast. Children were getting ready for school, and people in clean shirts were leaving for office jobs. And Thomas would think to himself, will this be my life forever? He had tried to change. He applied for better jobs, but with only a high school education, doors kept closing. He wanted to learn new skills, but after working all night, he was too exhausted to do anything except sleep. His mother would call him every week from their village. Thomas, my son, when will your life get better? I want to see you succeed before I die. Thomas would always answer the same way. Soon, Mama. I'm working on it. But deep down, he didn't know how. Then one morning, everything changed. On a cold Tuesday in November, Thomas received a call from his sister. Thomas, you need to come home. Mama collapsed. She's in the hospital. His heart dropped. He rushed to the village and found his mother weak in a small clinic bed. The doctor said she had fainted from exhaustion and stress. His mother held his hand and whispered, my son, please don't waste your life the way I wasted mine. Find a way. That night, Thomas stepped outside the clinic before sunrise. It was exactly 5 a.m. The village was quiet. Farmers were walking to their fields. Birds were beginning to sing. Standing in that quiet dawn, Thomas made a decision. No more, he whispered. I will change my life. Later that morning, on the bus back to town, Thomas noticed a well-dressed man calmly reading a book. He recognized him. It was Mr. Chun, a successful businessman who owned several stores in town. Thomas gathered his courage and asked, Sir, why are you traveling so early? Mr. Chun smiled. Because I wake up at 4:30 every morning. The hours before the world wakes up are the most powerful hours of the day. Thomas explained his situation. The night job, the exhaustion, the feeling of being stuck. Mr. Chun listened carefully and then said something Thomas would never forget. You are awake when the world sleeps and asleep when the world works. That's why your life isn't moving forward. Then he leaned closer. Let me tell you a secret. The hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. can change your life if you use them correctly. He wrote his phone number on a card. If you're serious about changing your life, call me. But it requires discipline most people don't have. The next day, Thomas called. They met at a small cafe. Mr. Chun explained a simple system. Your life isn't changing because you're only surviving. You never spend time building your future. He drew a diagram. 2 hours every morning can transform your life. Hour 1. Build skills. Learn something that can change your income. Hour 2. Build yourself. Exercise. Think, read, and plan. Do this every day for 90 days, Mr. Chun said. No excuses. The next morning, Thomas's alarm rang at 5 a.m. His body begged him to stay in bed, but he remembered his mother in the hospital. So he stood up. The first week was brutal. Every morning he forced himself to sit at his small table watching free tutorials online, learning Excel and basic accounting. At 6 a.m., he walked around the quiet streets for exercise. Then he slept before preparing for his night shift. Day after day, the routine continued. Around day 20, something changed. Thomas began waking up before the alarm. The lessons started making sense. The skills were growing. His confidence returned. By the second month, he had completed several online courses. By the third month, he decided to apply what he had learned. At work, the warehouse inventory was poorly organized, so Thomas built a simple spreadsheet system using Excel. His supervisor was shocked. "Where did you learn this?" Thomas smiled. "I wake up at 5 a.m. Soon the warehouse manager heard about his work. On day 87 of Thomas's 90-day challenge, he was called into the office. "We're expanding our accounting department," the manager said. "We need someone who understands the warehouse and knows basic bookkeeping." Then he said the words Thomas had been waiting his entire life to hear. "The job is yours, if you want it. Day shift. Double salary." 3 months earlier, Thomas had been a struggling night guard. Now he was moving into an office role. That evening, he called Mr. Chun. "90 days, Thomas said proudly. "I never missed a single morning," Mr. Chun replied calmly. "I knew you could do it. Now remember, don't stop." 1 year later, Thomas had become the company's lead accountant. He moved his mother to town so she could receive proper medical care. And every single morning, he still woke up at 5 a.m. Not because he had to, but because those 2 hours had become sacred. That was the time when he learned, planned, and built the next version of his life. And whenever people asked him why he still woke up so early, he always said the same thing. Success isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. And that practice begins at 5 a.m. So, here's the real question. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm rings, will you hit snooze, or will you wake up and start building the life you want? Your future might be waiting on the other side of that alarm clock.